Alright, the last thing we're going to do to make our level a bit more cinematic is add in music support. Now there's already a very nice music handling system that's integrated that we don't really have to do much to play with. All we have to do is tell it what songs to play and when to play them. So it's very, very simple setup. Let's jump into Kismet. And what I'm going to do is just start off by right-clicking anywhere in open space. Let's go to New Action, come down to Sound, and you'll see Play Music Track. It's a very simple node. It just has an input and an out. If we take a look at its properties, it's got some really cool stuff. It's got autoplay, a fade-in time, fade-in volume level, fade-out time, so you can do crossfading with this. It is, however, listening for a sound cue, so we've got to go find a sound cue for it. Now, I'm going to close out Kismet for just a moment and open up the content browser, and let's just search for music. So I'll click on All Assets and type in music. Now, there are several different things you can use here. What I'm going to grab, let's see, we've got A Music ROM Necris Ambient 1 Cue. So there it is in action. I'm going to right-click and stop that. Now, with that selected, let's go ahead and close out the content browser, jump back into Kismet, click the Play Music Track, expand its music track, and then for the sound cue, we'll just use that selection. Now, the fade-in time is 5 seconds. That's pretty extreme for what I've got in mind, so let's go ahead and set that to 3, and let's set the fade-out time down to about 1.5 seconds, because we want the next track to come in fairly quickly, so I don't want a whole lot of crossfade there. All right, now when are we going to start playing this? Well, let's start playing this as soon as the level loads. And we can go ahead and test this out, so it doesn't really matter where we spawn in. We have music. Alright, that's cool. Now, we want to change the music. As soon as the player uses the switch, we're actually going to add some kind of tension-filled music. Now, the cool thing is we've already got some of that. We don't have to record any. If we jump into the content browser again, you'll see, if you scroll down, A Music ROM Necris 01 Tension 01 Cue. So if you listen to this, just double-click it. So let's right-click and go ahead and stop that. So that sounds pretty cool. We're going to play that throughout the 8 seconds of our little animation. So let's close out the content browser, go back into Kismet. Now I'm going to grab this Play Music track and just hit Control-C, Control-V to make a duplicate of it. Let's grab the one that just came in, and I'll use the current selection in the content browser, which is Tension 01 Cue. Fade in time, I want this to be really quick, so let's fade it in over a second, and its fade out can be 1 second as well. Now, when are we going to play this? Since we want to play this during our animation, it stands to reason that we would want to fire it off as soon as the player used the trigger. So we'll plug it into the used of the trigger. Now, this is where it starts to get fun. As soon as the bot comes in, I actually want to change the music again. We're going to switch over to some action-packed music. So let's jump out of Kismet, take a look in the content browser, and we have ROM Necris 01 Action 01 Cue, which is and we'll right-click and click Stop. So that's what we want to play as soon as the battle with the robot begins. So with that selected in the content browser, let's go back over to Kismet. I'm just going to hit Control-V to paste in another Play Music track. Inside its properties, open up Music Track, and then we'll just click on the Use Selected Object in Content Browser button. Now, when are we going to play that? We want to start playing that as soon as the spawn is finished. So we'll go ahead and just leave that there. It's crossing over a few wires, but that's okay. It's just kind of a little thing there. Now, once that's done, I'm still not finished. I want to end that action-packed music with a stinger. Now, stinger is a musical, it's kind of like a snare that's there to allow for a change in tone. It's a way to wrap up a musical movement. Now, there are several of these available to us. So if we open up the content browser, actually, we could just scroll down because they're all going to be right here. So here's a couple of them. Here's the stinger for a killing spree. Here's one for a multi-kill. You see they're all just a little bit different. There's several different ones to choose from. What I'm going to grab, you see we've got Rom Necros Stinger for kill 3. That's a good one right there. So you got anything better? Ooh, that's even more over the top. I love it. All right, let's grab this one. So I've got A Stinger, Rom Necros 01, Killing Spree 02Q. So go ahead and close that off. Let's jump into Kismet. Now, we want this to take place. We want this track to come in as soon as the robot dies. Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky. What we're going to do is, first off, let's duplicate our little play music track one more time, and let's get the appropriate stinger applied, which is just to click our little button here. So now you can see A Stinger, Rom Necros 01, Killing Spree 02. That's exactly what we need, but we need some way to tell the system that the robot has been killed and then set that up. Now, what I'm going to do is take our little play music track, move it over here to the end, and let's right-click. We're going to create a new event, and if we come over to pawn, there's an event called death. So this waits for a pawn to die. All we need to do is plug the death into the play music track. It's pretty straightforward. Now there's a couple of things we got to do here. One is that we've got to tell this event that it's listening for the death of the actual bot that we spawned in the level. And that's where things get a little bit interesting. We have to actually bring in a special sequence object just to do that. So I'm going to right-click, go to New Action, and if we go under Event, you'll see Attach to Event. Select this. Now I'm going to plug this to our second move to actor. It really doesn't matter where it goes. As long as the bot exists at the time it's called, it's going to attach that bot to this guy. So that's all we need. So as soon as we're finished, we'll fire this off. The attachee is going to be our bot. So let's drag a wire back here to our variable that's storing our bot. And the event will be this death event. Okay, now we should be able to try this out at this point. So let's right-click, play from here. We have music. Oh, there's our tension music. And there's our action music. And this guy won't die without the rocket launcher, so let's go get the rocket launcher. Hold still. And we got our stinger, but it had a little bit of a fade in, which is a little bit of a letdown. So let's go back into Kismet, and we're going to grab our little play music track for the stinger. We're going to give it a fade in time of 0. It's just going to immediately be there. Now we'll go ahead and set its fade out time to 0 as well. So it's just going to be large and in charge right there in your face. Let's see. Also, the fade in volume level, I'm going to pick this up. So that's going to be a nice loud piece of sound effect. Now, what I'm going to do next, and this is something I'm just kind of throwing in, we're going to switch back to our ambient music after he's toast. So if we come back up here to our initial conditions, we see our original play music track, which was playing our ambient sound. I'm going to hit Control-C, fly back over here to our little play music track for the stinger, hit Control-V, connect the two together, but I'm going to put a delay in here. We're going to right-click. Actually, we may not need that. There's a 3-second delay in time, so it might actually work just right there on its own. So let's give this a quick try. Now, to make things easier, I'm actually going to start off with the rocket launcher. We'll go get that first. So we've got this ambient music. Everything's kind of creepy. Goes well with the blue mood lighting. And then tension music. Action music. We could maybe speed up the fade in on the action music. And yeah, we are going to need a delay because that second track is just coming in way too quick. So let's right-click here. Let's set an activate delay of, say, 3 seconds, which in a best case scenario will give us just a little bit of silence before we bring in the ambient music again. And while we're at it, let's grab our action music, which is coming in as soon as the actor factory is finished. And we're going to take its fade in time down to like 0.2 seconds. So there's almost no fade. So we go from ambient to tension. There we go. That was much quicker. He's already trying to kill us. Let's get the rocket launcher. Hold still. There we go. So he dies and our ambient music comes back. So that wraps everything up that I wanted to show you. We've handled everything from a cinematic movie to working with the results of that cinematic movie, adding in music, and not all of it was done entirely in Matinee. I want you to keep that in mind, though. I mean, in a best-case scenario, this is going to give you some great ideas for use in your levels. Please experiment with this stuff. Try out your own ideas. You can come up with some great things using the cinematic system through Matinee as well as Kismet. But that is going to wrap things up for this video. Thanks a lot.